26th. I'm about to call the order September 26th, 2024, meeting of the Capital Program Committee. For everyone to be aware, the meeting is audio and video recorded. Can I get the agenda?
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion, we have a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unopposed. Looks like we only have members present that are in the room at this time, so voice vote in person will be acceptable.
Yep.
Any public comment, members of the public? I see none. If anyone hops in, we can read their comments as we are available to. And with that being said, we can jump into election of officers. In the wake of our, well, I guess we've been waiting to do the election of the officers the last 2 or 3 meetings anyways.
Yeah, we're waiting for you to be back on the committee, actually.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But then I think 2 weeks ago, we were able
Right,
to, and
it's
for some
funny.
reason, or maybe it was last week, Stephen wasn't here. One time Stephen wasn't here, and then there was last, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so, always a fun conversation and vote to be had, election of officers. Obviously, we're missing Christie.
So you know what we could,
Dawn.
we could nominate Christie,
I know.
Good.
right?
What do you think about that?
Nominate Christie?
Yeah.
Well, I talked to him. I mean, I saw him at the course and he was telling me how busy he was, so I was feeling a little bad.
And I had a conversation with him yesterday,
Christie,
yeah. But
and he told you that he'd love to?
he said he might be persuaded to take it through this cycle.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So we could nominate him.
The question is, how he's gonna feel about you telling us? that?
I think we better wait.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
know, so
yeah.
I had it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then we better wait. But he said it was coming though, so.
Oh, well, let's see if he's coming.
Okay, so let's use the
Call
time.
him and then we can use the time to.
Can I ask Sue?
Yes.
So Sue,
Put a pin in
can you
it.
hear us now, Sue?
Yes,
So last year when we did the report, Stephen came to Peter and I with a lot of numbers. And like, I don't know, there were standard deviations and there were,
Are you coming?
conclusions and statistics and stuff, and they got in the report. Are you the one that calculates all that? And you gave it to Stephen, who gave it to the report?
Oh, okay.
I believe we can pull that report right from, Plum, sorry. I've been in a lot of meetings all day.
You're referencing the Rory outcomes.
Remember that he gave you
means-
numbers? And you said you had no idea where they came from?
Yeah, but I mean, and I think that the meat and potatoes of the numbers in the report are mostly the amounts of the requests, the dollar figures, what the different funding sources are, what the different department totals are, all of those
Yep.
totals that.
Right, and there was
went through.
one other thing, which was, do you remember when we looked at the results and we looked at, I guess, what someone calculated the standard deviation and then everything that was outside the standard deviation?
Yeah.
So who did that?
I believe Stephen did, but I'm sure we can figure that out. Not an issue.
You have a population of all the requests for a number, so you can calculate that with Excel pretty easy.
We actually do that when we go through the process, before it gets to you on the town admin side. We do the same type of, find the median, and then we talk about the projects below that, and so.
Yeah, one standard deviation below is accepted,
So
anything outside of that,
that's good.
Yeah.
Means the arithmetic is handled by Sue.
Okay, good. I like
or an Excel
Yeah,
formula.
we can take care of it. I'm sure
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
All right.
it. Okay.
What is Plum?
So Plum is this technically what the software vendor that is in the background of all of our Rory entries. So those all feed into this software in the background and it's all cataloged in database. So when they pull reports, technically they're pulling it from the Plum database that all of our information feeds into.
Is that from the state though, or is that?
No,
No.
they're private vendor.
It was specifically created for Nantucket. I did ask when I first started, I asked the developer why they named it Plum and didn't have an explanation for it. So, but no, that's created specifically for us.
Well, I'm sure there's similar, models elsewhere for other purposes, but yeah, so it's essentially the software, the database in the background that holds and aggregates all of our input and we can pull reports off of. And also when the department heads input their requests, right? It all feeds into Plum.
We did, so the department heads no longer do any of the data entry. I do it all. But I
Okay.
experimented with
Did
that.
you notice it?
Yeah.
It looked like it was,
Much more, yeah.
there were
uniform.
less errors in it and it was more
Perhaps. Yeah.
coherent.
It was my way of controlling the data going into it, so I took.
Yeah,
But yes, we enter it directly, I enter it directly into the Plum software.
it was noticeable.
So,
Well, thank you.
a long-winded answer, but that's essentially what it is. Any updates from Christie Kicko?
He does not want to be the chair.
Is he coming in?
He is open to being the vice chair.
Uh,
He's not, he said he was gonna maybe swing by for a couple minutes, but he's getting on a boat.
okay. So with that being said,
Um. One. It seems like we're in a position where we really need to operate as a team.
Hmm.
Okay, not, so it might be a little bit different than other committees we've all been on, where it was very like top down. But it sounds, but I think we've been operating as a team in the sense you guys did the report writing, we all have our liaisons. In committee, department heads that we meet with, which I think is actually, to me personally, the best part of being.
It was
on
nice.
this.
I like going, we went to a bunch of meetings together.
Yeah.
It was good.
liaison meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're really helpful, and I think it's good to go to those department heads and come back and have everybody sort of report back and then hear from those departments, if that's the year they're requesting a lot of money. And I think if we can operate maybe as a team and think of it that way, and, if somebody knows how to rotate in from time to time to chair a meeting or something, then maybe that's, but
Well, I think if you take responsibility for it, you're gonna need help. And I think that Peter knows stuff that you might wanna know.
As long as I'm here, yeah.
yeah, you've been on this committee a long time.
Me and Christie.
You both have.
And I will say the note taking that you've so graciously picked up since last year is, I think, very helpful
It
at
helps
the end
a
of the
lot.
year for adding context to a lot of the requests, which is nice.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
I mean, I'm happy to vice chair through as many meetings that I'm here, but I also don't know if that means I'm out for an extended period come December and January. If, I guess it just goes to the next person in the hierarchy, which would be the secretary, is that what it is? Clerk? But to the point, like Christie said, well, I don't want to be chair, but I'll do vice chair. If you want to do vice chair, Ken, I'm happy to do vice chair as long as I'm here. It just means that when I'm not, somebody, I guess, Christie would fill.
Crystal would do it.
Okay.
Sue, what's the date that our report is due?
Hold on. I got my calendar open.
It's early this year, right?
Yeah, actually, it's really not any earlier than last year. We were targeting January 17th.
Okay.
And I would say really the aspect that's probably extremely important for a chair that I don't have that great of familiarity with is kind of the funding sources, municipal finance, policy.
Well, that's what we have Sue
enterprise
for.
fund. No, I know, what I'm saying, like something that Steven seemed to have a very.
Oh, I did a lot of
great
municipal finance,
grasp
so I
of. You
can
seem
help
to
that.
know much more about it than I do. You've been on a.
Well,
bunch
they kind of-
boards that do
Yeah, well,
that.
they pepper that in at the end anyway.
Yeah, of course,
They-
but just, that's,
Yeah.
when there's questions, pointing questions about, oh.
If
is
it's
this
gonna be a debt
qualified for-
exclusion and go on the ballot or not, I
Exactly,
think that's
or
really.
Article
normally-
2, or that, that
Yeah.
stuff is out of my
We'll
wheelhouse.
be fine.
The
So,
funding sources are determined by town admin and finance,
but even just the classification of different types of funding
Mhm.
sources and such things.
Or to
I mean,
ask questions even.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to, when we're going through it and debating the merits of the requests themselves, I feel like I can add a lot of value, but when it comes to the actual municipal finance side of it.
I think too, in the past, once this goes to the select board and the finance committee, I think Brian actually is the one that takes it to.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, Sue and Brian, they handle all that, but more just when there's questions throughout our conversations with the airport and whoever else. It's a little. A little deep.
I feel like I need to say something to you, Jill, it's great, take this on. But, you know, I actually,
Want to be the chair?
no, I resigned from the committee almost a month ago and said that I would, being the NEPDC representative, I said I would stay on until the end of September. We don't need to go into the reasons why that, why I did, but you know, I was expecting to actually, this would sort of be my last meeting. With everything that's gone on, you know, I'll, and I've already said to Barry Rector, I'll stay on as the NEPDC representative. The problem is, Joe, you can't rely on me for a lot of work.
Yeah.
Outside the meetings. I mean, if I wish I could, but for a long time I can't. So I just want to be
Yeah.
upfront though, that yeah, I'll be here every week. But you know, I can't commit then to 12 hours of spreadsheet work and all that. It's kind of-
I think
Even
that's
that
okay.
It doesn't even exist here.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, and-
Nobody's really having
Outside
to
of
do
the
that. I
report-
wouldn't worry about it, John. It's more, I was just like kind of leaning on these two. They did the report last year. Christie, I think maybe
Okay.
helped.
I think Chris might have been the year before.
So
Christie
the
and,
only thing
And
that
we
you need
have
to do
that-
is what you've been doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I had a good, so then in that case, then
Yeah.
I'm good for the, you know, I'm good.
All we're doing is
But-
we're reading what Sue
And I'll
sends
do as
us.
much as I can.
Right, yeah. We're reading what Sue sends us, we're reading the Rory stuff, we're talking to the people that are here.
Yeah.
We're ultimately gonna rate it and discuss it amongst ourselves.
Yeah, and if you can't do a department head meeting, that's fine. One of us will pick it up or,
And that's really the only thing
and
outside of,
sometimes those really don't happen, it just doesn't work
No.
out for people,
But
you
I-
know?
if I
Like, I
can't,
don't
well,
wanna bother
If I
the school.
can't, you know, I'll try to do as much as I can. I just don't want to be sitting here and then you think, oh,
Anyway,
you sign, you know, like you sign up to be,
Right, I would feel like you abandoned me,
well, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I mean, the majority of the work on this committee happens
yeah,
in the meeting, in
Right.
this room, with the department heads and our conversations, you
Great.
know,
Yeah.
thereafter towards the
Okay.
end of the year.
so should we,
Usually, and your Rory's are on, you can do that on your own time. I think Stephen had wanted us to do them together, like, but
Yeah,
I
which,
didn't really wanna do it that way personally. I think you guys should just do it in your own time. You ask different questions at different times and find information out on your own as well, so.
you know, just, it's relevant. It's a little bit of a digression. So last week I asked if someone would volunteer to like give me an onboarding session. So I'm Christie there, and I met
Oh,
with him
good.
for
Nice.
2 hours
Oh, wow.
yesterday.
Oh,
He took
good.
me- Yeah, it was really, really good. Like now I feel like I know what I'm
You
looking
can do
at,
it.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
And not for today, but I would make a motion at some point that you take what we discussed, yes, because I put it all into subjects that I knew I was like not really getting. And then anybody who joins or to get on board, you know, because this isn't like going to a planning board meeting.
No,
and-
this is a really unique
Yeah,
board,
you know,
and
you better,
but primarily it's unique because of the plum,
yeah,
you know, but I love it. And I mean, I've recommended, I think they should have the select board do Rory's for themselves,
Yeah.
their own priorities. It might
Yeah.
help them. I mean,
Yeah.
just even internally or something. I think it's a
Yeah.
good system.
that's good.
And, you know, it would be really awful if we had to go around back in the days. They probably had to vote on every single recommendation and debate it.
I mean, the one
Like-
before Stephen, you know, and got this spearheaded putting this in place, it was really.
It's
most-
amazing what he did.
It was really just rubber stamping most requests, and there was conversations about it, but for the most part, nothing really got
No, it's good.
hammered too hard at
It's-
the table.
It was a really smart move
Yeah,
forward.
But I agree with you. After yesterday, I would be much more comfortable sitting down in my own time, doing my,
Yeah.
you know, rather than, you know, we're all
Yeah.
trying to go at a pace that perhaps doesn't work for everybody, you know.
looks like this is updated too.
Oh, the Rory's are?
I think it's updated.
I looked at them yesterday. I was actually looking for some old ones. and They popped up too.
Think so?
Sue, this looks like the Plum's, Rory's ratings items are updated, right?
Yeah, yep,
Right?
everything has been updated,
Right,
yes, should now be able to
This
see
is where you put
total
them.
cost of project and only
Click
total
on an item.
this year.
Gotta go up here.
No, just click on any item right there. And now go to the bottom, see it says Rory, like my Rory.
Yeah.
And then that's what it is.
The thing I don't know, Sue, is did you all sign up to do liaisons?
I don't think we have yet.
We
You
didn't.
did.
You didn't do it last meeting.
It was
I know we
discussed,
did, but
I'm
we
sorry.
with the departments,
It was discussed several weeks back. I know we didn't have full members at the committee meeting that it was discussed. And then everyone was supposed to think about it, and then it was supposed to be discussed at the next. No, there has never been.
Changed it so that it was
I
clear.
think 2 weeks ago, Stephen was out and I didn't.
That's
I didn't, because we were running late, and then last week we were also running late, and I was out at 5. I don't think.
Sue, do we have the list of who we need to meet with? Cause we said we really didn't have to meet with department heads who were asking for under $1 million. I think we
Right.
thought that was. sort
I
of the-
sent it to Stephen. I can resend, I'll find it and send it to you, Jill.
I don't delete your emails, so I can.
I remember,
Only set.
I remember signing up for water.
She only sent it to Steve.
Okay, there you go.
No,
You only have 2 requests?
Huh?
Like that, you only had 2 requests or something?
Yeah, the reason I did that, but he
Give me a
seems to
minute, I
discuss
can
stuff
tell you.
coming down the pike.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
We heard that.
So in terms of election of officers, do we think we're in an all right place to nominate and vote? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any nominations for direct chair of the board? Anybody like to
I nominate
anyone?
Jill.
Yeah,
Howard nominates Jill. Do we have a second?
second.
Okay,
Okay.
Jill,
we have a enthusiastic, all in favor, say aye.
aye,
Ah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
tell Chris he can come in now.
Is he outside?
Walking it in his car.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's big shoes to fill, but I think it'll be filled by many of us.
I know, it's really big. Steven's been amazing.
And I mean, well, and the depth of, his understanding of it all is vast.
It is. It just is. So thank him for all he's done.
We'll make it work.
Okay,
I will, well, I guess, can we get a nomination for vice chair?
who do I nominate Pete Kaiser for vice chair?
I second.
Okay, we have first and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Aye, okay, we got it. And so,
Okay.
and then we have clerk, is that what it is?
I didn't even think we had that.
Oh.
Treasurer?
Sue, you're not a treasurer, right? Yeah, do we have a I think we have a secretary technically.
I nominate Sue.
Yeah, she's got enough things
I
to do.
second Sue.
Should we do Christie just in case neither you nor I are here and then it would go to him technically?
Sure. The vice chair?
The vice chair, the double vice. All right, I nominate Christie Kickham as the secretary of capital program.
second,
All right, first and second, all in favor, say aye.
aye,
Aye,
Okay.
okay. I think that covers it, Sue?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Great, and with that being said, and as Jill kind of alluded to, I guess. I would just like to, on behalf of the board, the last 8 years, give a thanks to Stephen for all he's done. You know, for the direction that he's taken capital program committee since, me and Christie were on the board before he joined and the very significant changes that he implemented, spearheaded, spent a lot of his own personal time, take responsibility for, and ultimately leaving for us to carry on for better or worse. So,
I agree.
round of applause to him. Thanks, Stephen, and
Thank you.
we will continue in your positive example. In some words. Okay, so department liaisons, maybe we wait until next week one last time, hoping that Christie and Don are here as well.
Yeah, well, what I was thinking is maybe you guys tell us what departments you wanna do now and.
We have,
we had an email, didn't we? From,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
yeah, we did. Let's see where I
Yeah,
found it.
liaison assignments, I have here.
I also wonder, we don't have a list of who took what last year, do we? By chance, I feel like,
Here we go.
does it make sense to have
Here's-
continuity year to year with some stuff? Granted, the board changes, but.
Here. Why don't you guys want me to just throw out a name and then if you wanna do it?
Yeah, and usually it's 2 people, essentially, I mean, sometimes it could be 1 person.
Yeah.
But
Do you remember how are we setting them up? We're calling
Just
you.
reach out to the
Basically-
department head, correct?
I'm pretty sure the department heads, Sue, isn't that how you did it before? The department heads contacted you and gave you some options?
So Sue has been
That
contacted.
was the request of Stephen, the former chair, to have me tell the departments to reach out to all of you, but I'm certainly, if you guys are okay with reaching out directly to them, that's fine too. Whatever is easiest.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, you have contact information for them that we might not have, right? Sue? Okay,
We should have their emails, at least of whatever meeting they were presenting.
I mean, ideally, you've met with them before.
Right. If we're doing the same ones every year.
Yeah.
It's not changed, but. Trying to think of who I did last year, I know the Natural Resources Department, which I'd be happy to follow up with again. That would be Steven, so
Okay,
maybe Christie might be good for them, because it's on track or whatever the coastal resiliency
yep,
thing is, and
yeah,
that's a
I
big
think
part of
he'd
that.
probably be okay if we just have them do it.
Yeah.
So natural resources, Pete and Christie.
I mean, I'd definitely take on water and housing. If nobody else wants to do
Is
that.
housing town admin?
I think Public Works, you and I did.
Yeah.
Did we
we'll
do
it
them
again.
separately?
We,
Did we do the,
I think you had to go to maybe to Pete
yeah, I went to DPW,
facilities,
which I know. That's easy to do, but we'll
and I
make,
think I couldn't join you.
and you know what, and anyway, you're not gonna know anything about it, cause you're not gonna see the proposals, so I'll do that.
For the,
Contract,
for the contract, but not for the building.
right,
But the building won't be before us right now anyway,
it's done. We approved it,
the building,
the building,
but it's not going to the town meeting in May. So it's not gonna come before us now at Capcom, the building. I wouldn't think, Sue,
there's no new building. We approved
no,
the,
the new building to house DPW.
oh, that
Yeah.
building,
Yeah, the $80 million, well, I think it's $67 million now, it came down.
I didn't, I
Yeah,
don't, know
that
if
got presented last night to the select board, but that I think will not be on track for May. It's gonna be on track for another, so I don't think it'll be before.
Right. okay, so the thing with the DPW is the new contract more than anything else. But I didn't see what else he asked for here.
Can I interject? I'm so sorry. So they will be bringing the $80 million DPW facility to you.
That would mean
When they
This
present,
fall.
money they ask for.
but it is scheduled for a special town meeting 25.
Right, but I don't think they'll be coming to us before for the January.
Well, then why don't we
Report,
do
right?
let's just do the DPW meeting anyway, right? And let's figure it out when we get.
They are bringing it forward because otherwise it wouldn't, there's no other way to get it through the process of the capital committee if they don't do it now. Because you guys would not convene
Right.
until, special town meeting can be anywhere from September to November of next
We'd
year.
still be in process. I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to have it approved ahead of time, so that's why they will be presenting it to you now. You will see it in Plum.
Okay,
Okay,
and so,
so
That-
for the record on this one, you guys should know that my husband owns a rubbish business, so I probably should recuse on. Like that, it's a small
okay, great.
trash business, but I don't think I have to, so
And,
on that element.
and
You're
transportation,
talking in terms of being a liaison or in terms of that?
yeah, yeah, fine.
But, so you're already working on that, Howard, so.
Right, well, I'm more working on the solid waste which is the third to the bottom. And then,
I can do DPW facilities, I'm fine with that, it's the solid waste aspect.
well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll just do the solid waste,
So why don't you and I do DPW and sewer?
right. And you want to do water,
I want to do water and housing, I'd like to do.
so,
I got that,
and then,
solid waste will be Howard.
right,
Pete,
That-
what do you wanna do?
I don't know.
Other
Liz.
than that resources?
natural resources,
Yeah.
police, schools, town admin. But the thing is, we did town admin already, so
And we already did police, didn't we?
We did school too.
we did school too.
So I mean, it'd be.
Yeah.
Okay, police was really quite small.
I'm sorry, Sue, what did you say?
You've also already done natural resources.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I would
they-
like to, I think somebody should go to natural
That was a
resources.
big
and talk-
number, that was like 12 million.
Yeah.
That's so, it was so confusing.
That was 12 million. Police is.
So you're gonna do natural resources,
Yeah, I
with-
think
maybe
me-
with Christie?
Me and Christie,
Okay,
yeah.
then I,
So say, yeah, you and Christie do that, but if you wanna do it, Howard, then jump in there, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
Too
ephemeral.
Clear that.
I
confusion?
wanna, Howard, well, you already have three.
Right.
Do you, I'm gonna do the airport, does anybody wanna do the airport with me?
There was a sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who was the other one? I'm trying to keep track too.
So,
Airport would be Jill and Howard,
Thank you.
natural resources is Christie Pete, water and housing is John Kitchener, maybe we could get Dawn to do those
Yes.
with you,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah,
And DPW sewer, Howard and Jill,
Okay,
and solid waste is Howard.
town admin, I think would be the only large one left.
but we,
We feel like we've already looked at town admin, we looked at school, we
Okay,
looked at police, so maybe
let's just,
those moments. The only thing on town admin was the town employee housing,
And
and OIH.
and so, NOH.
well, do you wanna do the, you
So
wanna
you're already
do the
doing
town
housing.
admin housing thing
Sure.
since you're doing the other housing?
So you
Yeah.
could meet with Christie about that since you're already,
yeah.
Could
So
you
what-
give
the,
me
the
that?
housing that's on here isn't that one? Is that it's
Isn't that,
separate?
yeah, isn't the housing fourth one down, the town housing?
Yes,
Okay,
does that include it?
well, I don't know where your fourth one
so
down.
there's the
I mean,
town,
it's just, that's not how it's delineated in
right, there's town employee housing and then there's the seasonal housing.
affordable housing.
So which one is it?
I
Which
think
is,
Christie can tell you about both,
okay.
but that money was coming through town admin.
Can I ask which one you're looking at, Howard?
we're looking at the fourth one down, there's a housing entry for the department. But it's, we think it's really part of town admin, and then Pete said that housing could be employee housing or seasonal housing.
So these housing requests. That's why I don't know what you're looking at when you said fourth one down. We have town employee housing
Okay,
for 14 million, which is
Yep.
under
And
Chris.
the town admin is some.
Under Christie, fair
Well,
enough,
there's
okay,
no
and that one.
Oh, and seasonal is under the same thing.
Yeah.
They're
I
both-
don't, I think that's, hold on. You sure that's a new, no, your, seasonal building roof replacement is police.
Yeah, that's not one they're talking about. I don't
The one that I'm talking about is admin 20004. I think,
No, that's the,
the third one down.
oh,
But is it for FY 26? I'm sorry, I've got too many things open. Let me-
season, yeah, season.
But there,
And,
and
but there's nothing in it.
there's nothing in it.
Then it's right, then it's not for 26.
Okay,
I mean, the two projects that were right around the corner from each other were town employee housing on Waits Drive, sorry, on Tacoma. That was the 4 duplexes.
Yeah,
And then it was the seasonal dormitory housing, so to speak, on Waits Drive. Was the other one, separate from the police's request for the new roof out by the
So-
Coast Guard veterans. And I don't know if the Waits Drive seasonal dormitory housing has been taken off for now or put on hold, but,
it doesn't seem to be on here.
okay, so maybe that's put on hold then, so.
I believe it's been put on hold.
Okay, so right now we just have the town's employee housing on Tacoma.
Yeah, that was the
duplexes.
14 million.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then there's the police barracks. That was like for the roof, rubber roof for dormitory seasonal housing out by
Yeah.
the Coast Guard. But that was under the police.
And the airport housing, of course.
so you'll,
Almost.
Sue will recirculate the list then?
Yeah, Sue, are you good?
The list of who you all just decided on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then are you going to, what's next? Are you going to call the department heads and ask them to call us, or I forget, or are we calling? the-
I will let them know to get a hold of all of you. What is the best way? Do you want me to have them email you?
Probably the same emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do it. Just keep it the same, but
Do we
on
like
OIH,
it?
OIH is under town admin.
Yes, OAH is under town admin.
Do you want to do that with me?
I
that's
don't know
good.
much about it, but I'll go. But I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I know what everyone else knows that I read in the packets in the paper, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Did
who's
we
giving,
say schools? We did, right?
Yeah, we saw the school and
Their stuff is pretty vanilla, I feel like.
they didn't have anything that was like super new.
Yeah. 'cause some
Remember
small-
they had that really good IT person they added,
Yeah.
which was like
Oh, outstanding. Yeah, she had that presentation.
Like-
She was
Ah,
awesome.
Yeah.
coherent, articulate, and
Super
organized.
clever. She was
Like,
great.
whoa. Okay, and then
So-
we did the Rory writing.
Yeah, we've already decided on the group. And that's gonna be Howard and Pete,
That'd be, what's it
And-
called?
the report
it's
writing
covered.
work group,
Yeah,
yeah. For as long as you can be part of it.
it should be pretty
I'm trying to think
painless.
of when that was last year that we were doing.
I think we were doing it in,
Christmas time usually, and into
no,
in
no, we did it in February, I think,
It was
January,
yeah,
February.
in January, Howard. It's always due January, trust me, I remember it
But
well.
I think we were late.
We were 1 week late and only because I didn't, when I say late, based on our goal, but it was because I had missed, that was the one meeting I didn't get posted. Because I was doing finance committee at the time as well. So,
And then on the next one, we have the Rory evaluations, the request to date. So my question for you, Sue, is when did you and Stephen kind of map out for us to have our Rorys done? I don't think I got a date on that yet.
so he never mapped it out with me. That was something he did internally with the committee. And I think, let me look at the calendar, our budget calendar, I'm sorry, our meeting calendar. Because that usually was the indication. Let me take a.
You guys done any worries?
Almost.
Not yet.
If anyone has, so when you save them, last one I did, when you save it and you went back into it, you couldn't change anything after you saved it. I don't know if anyone else had that problem.
Yeah, you don't have to save them, I don't think is the
So,
thing.
but once you save it, then it's like locked.
I think, Sue, can you unlock a saved? Rory?
Sorry, I don't know, I can find, I don't believe I can, but I can check with the.
And I can look again, yes, but I feel like in the past you would save it and then you can go back in and just change it. the
Yeah,
next
I-
day.
Yeah.
So
I was able
surprised.
to too.
Yeah, I was surprised that
He
we
fixed
saved it.
that to, I don't, I think they have fixed it that if you save it as you're going, you can now go back in and keep.
Okay, and that's the only reason I was asking anybody else, in case anybody don't want.
That's a pretty important one for me though, Sue, to make sure.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should be fine though. So to let you know, we are scheduled November 14th and 21st for Rory development. And the 22nd was basically the goal to have the preliminary up and down recommendation list.
The 14th is a soft deadline. For all-
November.
Of November, to have all our worries done.
Okay.
Okay.
While we're on November 14th, can we talk about it for a second?
Yep.
So we have a conflict that, because planning board meeting starts at 5,
Yep.
On the 14th.
right?
Okay.
So can we start this meeting an hour earlier?
That day or every day?
That one day?
Probably, I mean, should we make that determination? Like the week before or something, just make sure everybody's
Well,
scheduled.
yeah, just so you know.
Well,
Do you know if we can find out if we can move it up an hour on November 14th on the calendar that you have for the
I'll
trail?
double check. I'm sure it's probably okay, but I'll certainly double check afterwards to make sure.
Okay, that helps us a lot,
Maybe up an hour, you could move it to
Yeah.
a Wednesday instead of Thursday.
because Monday is Veterans Day, I think, and
It
so we
is.
needed to move the meeting, the planning board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Do we have any committee reports?
Don't believe so.
We're working on the Rory workshop. And our next meeting is next Thursday. And Sue, do we have who is? What projects we're listening to next
It's-
Thursday?
So
Yes, it's going to be, you're starting on the DPW and it will be their transportation requests.
that's kind of unfortunate because next Thursday is Rosh Hashanah, so I won't be here.
Send your questions and add that.
Okay. Right.
Well, that's for transportation, right?
Just transportation.
Yeah, not facilities.
No, the fleet and facilities is the 10th.
Peter, I have Jill, whoever,
Yeah.
I have like another, like an extra piece of business I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Is now a good time or?
Put that good to the order. Yep.
Perfect.
So it's back to the, you've got airport, right? It's the 6 million
Yes.
phase two. Sue sent after the discussion last week, Sue sent some questions out to Noah, which we got back. And at least Christie and myself are still not crystal clear about what that 6 million is.
Did you like the way that was written or what? It was kind of ambiguous. I read it a few times. I still don't.
The
Okay,
first
so-
one was, and now
so
this one
guys-
is, it's
Yep. So I think what we can do on that is they are gonna come back
right.
in person. Do we have a date for that, Sue?
No, I didn't know they were definitely coming back, so we can certainly,
I had missed that one. Now, they're on my list, so I can go see them in person.
No, but I have a suggestion.
No, they need to.
Yeah.
Because,
I responded to that.
you know, I
with one
reviewed
question.
this with Tucker Holland, and you remember last week, we said it would be good to get Christy Ferrantella and Tucker Holland, forget about the airport for a second, just to come and talk to us about all things housing. Right? But we sort of agreed that I don't think anybody reached out to the two of them, but I talked to Tucker about this. He's also confused. What would be good? His suggestion is that we have Noah, or whoever it is, come and present to us not just this 6 million. Because there's two phases to this. This is phase two, but phase one is the one they're just breaking ground on, I think, right now. And to have him take us through the project, phase one and two, what's, what was spent on one, what is this 6 million all about two? Or is some of this 6 million something to do with phase one, perhaps? Because 6 million for 5 bedrooms is insane.
Well, it sounds like you would like to be the airport liaison.
No. Housing though. Yeah, I'll take out the.
No, definitely. I mean, I didn't get to hear them. I don't know if Noah's willing to come back. I'm happy to go meet with him if he reaches out, and if you wanna come, then that's a good
I would
spot.
prefer to be in the room with Tucker, Christie.
Is Tucker
That-
still with the town?
No,
No, Christie took over his whole role.
Okay, so Tucker's involvement would be with the airport?
Well, he.
No,
he
he
still
just
consults
knowledge,
for the
but
town.
why don't,
I think on both housing issues, Joe, if Tucker could be here for them both, because that would be helpful.
He's the
He also has
institutional
spent-
knowledge.
He also has
around this.
capital cost ideas of what, like the $6 million. He
Yeah,
could
he
say,
knows what-
oh, that's ridiculous. Or not.
yeah, no, I mean, I think he could weigh in. We could always invite him to the meeting. I mean, he could show up
Yeah.
on
Hey,
Zoom
Joe,
too.
yeah.
So if you've got a date, but do we want to? I don't want to tread on like Christie's toes either, because she's the town person. So should we invite them both?
What do you think, Pete?
Invite them to be in here when the airport's giving their presentation?
I
On,
mean, we don't normally do it
housing
that
only.
way.
Yeah, I mean, that seems a little
We usually just have them come present their project.
presumptuous to have Christie and Tucker be cross-examining the airport in front of capital program.
Yeah.
committee.
I'm uncomfortable with that too.
okay, I'm just,
But
this is
I
going
hear what
around.
you
but-
mean, because
It's
we
going
do have
around.
people, because there are a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge about what things should cost, but.
Well, yeah.
I think with the airport, for me, I want to find out, and I'm gonna go meet with them, is I want to find out the big picture again, because I think that picture changes. And, this isn't gonna be the last round.
No, but I'm sort of into the housing stuff, and I feel very uncomfortable if we let this 6 million sort of sail through to the next round, wherever that is. Knowing that if it is 6 million for 2 dwelling units in 1 duplex, that is crazy. And
Well, and to remind you that last year, this was before us last year. And so it didn't
Was this
make
phase-
it through the next level, and now it's back.
Was it this phase that was before us last year, or was it phase one last year?
Phase one came last year.
yeah,
Right. Phase one was,
This
the-
was not in, This
This-
was phase two for more permanent housing, and it was not in the warrant in May.
What we, I can't answer that because I don't remember, but what we did review was the piece of the project which included all the common infrastructure and the
Yes,
first, and
that-
Last year,
last
yes.
year.
yes,
And I
Yes.
thought we had in that the first buildings too.
I thought that had a more of a
The
dormitory
dorm
style
is
building,
what they've
Yeah.
cleared now.
Yeah.
because They've
Yes.
cleared
Yeah.
that
which
land.
was last
Right.
year's request.
I thought that was the year before. I thought last
Well,
year
we
was
could tell you.
phase two. We knew they wanted to.
I
So
might
do
be-
you remember that? Cause to me, last year it was phase,
I know.
I
there's
call
one-
it phase two, and that was about $6 million. And that did not go through the warrant. It did come through Capcom, but it did not move forward. And the year before, I think we approved the door. And the infrastructure needed for that.
I think I agree.
That would have been approval in 23.
So I'm gonna go to,
That's how I remember it, but.
Wait, I think you're right, Jill, but I think they initially brought it forward at the beginning of the season last year. They
They
Yeah.
did, and it did not move forward.
back.
At a certain point, I think they had to tie some things up that didn't.
I was just looking at all of the airport.
Cause it was like a 4 million or something.
No, we did, no, I take that, we did employee
last year?
supplemental construction dormitory and design last year for 3.2 million. It was supplemental for phase.
Yeah, but they had already designed it before.
Yeah, so that was the supplemental.
This is phase two supplemental funding, and it says construction of additional
Yeah.
crew quarters to provide housing for rescue and firefighters. And this is with regard, the townhouse as envisioned would contain 2 dwelling units. This is with regard to the
Yeah.
townhouse.
The first phase was the dorm.
Right, so let's go to
And there
this.
was more planning before that, I guess is what.
Right, so
she's
let me go
saying.
look at the email with the spreadsheet for the airport. Airport. That's good.
Too, sure, but why don't they have it last year?
So,
Did you find that?
no, are you able to put up? Can you share that memo that you sent to us that you got back from the airport?
Sure, hang on one second. I have about 20 screens open.
Remember the rubber?
And the
You go
spreadsheet
through,
was last year.
Put up on the screen, John.
Okay, great.
Well, so last year we did $3.2 million for fiscal year 25, Sue, is what I see here.
Correct. I'm
And
actually-
that was for appraisals, survey, design, and 2.3 million for construction. I'm gonna go. Well, I don't know how to look for what the number is. I don't know what the number is.
okay, so in,
NMA 25-11,
NMA.
NMA,
So if I, so that the sentence in there, the townhouse as envisioned would contain 2 dwelling units in a side-by-side configuration, each dwelling having 2 to 3 bedrooms. The proposed structure is envisioned as being 3,600 square feet total. And that is the 6 million, is it not? Because that was the question you asked him, wasn't it? What's in the 6 million?
yes, that's what I asked him, correct.
See, there was and this also says there's a 2024 appropriation of 3.8 million, which I think he meant for 2025.
No, that was
3.8 million.
24, that was the year before.
Oh,
So 2024, we,
oh, yeah, it does say that. It says fiscal year 2025 supplemental funding of 3.2 for the dormitory neighborhood employee housing project and design services for additional townhouse style structure and 2 dwelling units, and the fiscal year appropriation of 3.885.
So my suggestion is that we have it's gonna have to be someone who's got the detail though, as well as Noah, that can take us through, okay, is the. From the beginning of this thing in 2024. To this one, which is 26.
Mhm.
What is it? What was, what?
And so that would be Noah, correct?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
no, but it's gotta be somebody who can ask the detailed questions though.
Yeah, well, he had the contractor on last year.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had his engineer, whatever it was.
Yeah.
He
project
did, he had
manager.
him last year, I
Yeah.
think he was the project
Yeah.
manager, and he could go through all those details, and he can
But
start.
But it's
But
the,
I don't understand why we can't find the first phase, because
Well,
I wasn't on this committee for the first phase. But it's not showing up in the request, so maybe he paid for that,
Cause all you can find is supplemental funding for the first phase.
phase two.
The 3885, is that the one you're referring to, Jill?
The
Good.
only one I see that but again, I wasn't always on this committee.
so what are you, what are you,
I'm in last year's,
Right.
well, maybe I'm in this year. I'm in 25 NMA 25001 011.
I see
So if
the
you type
employee
in-
housing
But that's-
phase
you got
two
it.
supplemental funding,
Which means there's already a phase two
Right,
approved prior to that. correct?
right. And last year was 3.2, this year is 6.
and that's what I can't find. Now, in phase two, did they have, under supplemental documents, did they have?
I can't get back to it, but it was last year, the appropriations, he says. Supplemental funding of 3.2
this
for the
was just a
dormitory
memo that
and
wasn't
in the
anything in-
neighborhood. So,
I can tell you how to find it. There's a thing they changed in Plum. If you're on the main screen, the capital request form screen, you have to change the active status to archived.
oh, is that,
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that change right now, but that is what I having the same trouble when I can't find a project. I'm like, oh, it got
You
archived.
do have to change it to archive.
Which
'cause
I
I'm
think
under
we
all
all, I think
knowledge.
we requested that because we also had an
You
issue.
did. I did as well, and then I
Once
realized
the
hard
old
to find it.
classes Mixed in with the new request, and then people could find the new ones.
Gotcha. So now,
that because I can find it under archived.
I mean, does it make sense? to put
okay,
it-
the first employee housing and supplemental construction, dorm and design 3.2,
okay,
approved, archive, yes.
yeah, employee housing.
that's
And
that.
it was approved, and I'm clicking on it now, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then now that
3.2.
one doesn't have the one that says phase two.
Because this was phase 1 last year, the dorm.
Right, this is the archived one, so of course we cloned it to add,
And he said the total project would be 7.0, but now he's saying the total project will be 9.
that's correct.
He said, but there was 3,
3.8 approved in 24,
yeah,
and then 3.2, so that's 7. But
Right.
now he's asking for 6, so it's 13. But we don't, that's the point, we don't understand it.
The
I mean, we
388,
really have to understand.
the 3885 is for some reason not bringing into the total. I don't know if that one was ever in Plum, that was before my time as well.
I agree with you. So
Which one was it from?
the 2024 one is not,
Yeah,
is that right?
yes.
Or
The 2024 for 3.8 million, and I'm not sure where in Plum that is, and that was a little bit.
Okay, right, that 2024 number is not in his 2026 request. It's not reflected.
It's in the
Just like
body,
you
of the
didn't
project,
know.
but it's
So
not.
there's 3.8 in 2024, 3.2 last year.
Yep.
And I look, and he says the total is 9, but he was asking for 6.
Well, I think he said 9 was to.
The total of what was that?
The total housing was 9, I thought, but I don't know what the
For
9,
both of these
don't ask me.
projects?
We
I
don't
mean,
know.
Yeah, there's a lot of different numbers, different definitions.
I think we
of
need to get
project.
this to be very simple. There's phase 1 and it's this was more the dormitory style, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
And all the
And-
infrastructure.
Yeah, and the infrastructure for phase 1 and 2.
For the whole thing, yeah.
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 So
But I'm pretty sure there's more phases after this.
Right. Because this is
Sure,
only one
that's
building.
what I
As of right
There's like
now,
8
this is all
buildings, I
we're
think, or
feedback.
6.
well, if that's, but then we need to know that because that's not at all. In 2 attempts at trying to explain this, there is nothing to say
Okay.
Some of
So
this is-
Could-
instead of flipping this around for the sixth time, I mean,
Yeah.
should we just say, let's request that Noah come in and present us from start to where we are now?
Yeah.
That'd be great,
Yeah.
or whoever
That'd be
he
great.
wants, I mean, I know he's kind of moving on as well, so
Right.
maybe.
So Sue, that would be reflecting previous request, current request, and what the total is. And going forward, then what the next amounts would be and what that total is. For those, because there must be 2 or 3 phases after this one.
I mean-
2026.
It would be good if they could lay it out on a spreadsheet
Yeah.
beforehand, you know, before we
Right.
meet, so we can take a look at it. for a couple
I
of
think whatever plan they have, it should be in the supplemental documents.
The whole plan.
Yeah.
Yes,
Say this is a piece of this bigger plan.
with drawings and diagrams and everything. You
Yeah,
know,
or at
so you
least a
could-
site
so
plan.
it's, so
Just
it's
a
laid out,
plan
you
with
can
a
see
site-
this is phase 1, this
'Cause
is
we've had a
phase 2.
site plan before, and remember they moved the dorm, its location.
Was that the site plan that had like the whole thing built out, like 18 units
Yes,
or 18
yes,
lines?
right. They've had that, but we don't know what the,
I mean, there's a case to be made that if any single member isn't satisfied with the amount of information provided, that they can not score their Rory, or say, I don't have enough information,
but-
they can get, I mean, so,
But
yeah,
see, for me, Peter, though, it runs deeper than that.
well, I'm sure it does, but that sounds like a matter that's probably more.
No, but we can't just let people spend 6 million on
Right.
2 dwelling units
Well, I
in a
would say that we're
duplex.
letting anybody spend anything, I would say that our Rory's reflect our comfort and kind of agreement with the request, and if our Rory's are a 0 because we don't have the amount of information we need,
Mhm.
then that's tacit disapproval of the fact that we don't have enough information to make an informed decision.
I agree
So
with
I
you.
would ask you,
And-
does the finance committee have this total big picture, 10,000 view of all of the phases, costs and, right?
Something like
No,
this.
So-
because the finance committee really only sees your report.
So nobody has a full understanding of what we're approving money
Well,
for.
I think the finance department actually does.
Yeah.
Then
and
they
we're
must
close
know
to the
this.
Town admin.
Well, then maybe they could put something together for us to see.
Well, I think it would be the responsibility of the
That's what I
department
was about
heads
to-
to provide a level of
Yeah.
information that the person on the board who wants the most information
Right,
gets. So if I say I'm fine with this amount, but John Kitcher says I need this much, they need to provide this much.
Yeah, I think, Sue, it's gonna go quicker for them if they would be willing to come back and talk to us, because otherwise we obviously have a lot of questions, and that really doesn't translate, I think, on email that well.
and
So
could you reiterate
it'd be
that,
nicer to have him here with his project manager or whoever he deems is the right person to.
and can we get a spreadsheet ahead of time and a total plan ahead of time
Yeah.
before he gets here so we can look at it?
So we have the documents for this project, but I know he's sent at least a site plan for the full build out before. We've seen that before. I
Well,
think
if-
I even still
If
have
he's
it at home.
installed the infrastructure, let the contracts for the infrastructure, he has all the plans now. Only thing he doesn't have the plans for are the specific subsequent buildings.
Right, he has the site plan.
He has everything
Right.
else.
He's had that for a long time.
That was one of the first documents they provided us.
So Sue's math doesn't add up. That's what we're getting
I understand.
at.
But I do think they keep changing what it is that they're trying to do a more targeted build out maybe, so I think that's why they
And the
were.
plan to change midstream a couple
You're being
times.
very generous.
Yeah.
I'm chair of the committee.
That's very
Yeah.
generous.
No, it's fine. It's always really tricky. They've got a big project and they're limited into what all they can do.
Well,
I still want to talk to them about the FAA request and see if that can also change,
Right.
or at least the request can change. I don't know that it can.
Okay.
And Art was getting on last year too. He's an airport commissioner,
Right.
Foxborough, so maybe Art wants to join.
It's usually very-
So what's the next agenda?
Agenda item?
We mentioned the Royal
What's that?
Workshop date, which is in November, right? So we said. And the date of our next meeting is next Thursday, October 3rd. And does anybody want to move to adjourn?
second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All right, all right.
Aye.
This was very.
Thanks,
productive, actually.
everybody.
Wow.